Hi, my name is Eric Derlith, and this is my website for Miss Debbie's Spring 2026 3500 class. Starting off with our Assure model infograph. This was my mind map that we did in class. It was one of the first things we did in Miss Debbie's 3500 2026 class. I think I enjoyed doing this part of the. I enjoyed this part of the class. The mind map helps me write out some goals and thoughts I might have and what it takes to accomplish a job. And then we move on to the curation part of the class. We used Pinterest, Wakelet, and Gemini to help us create a brochure. And I decided to do mine on a trip to Sydney, Australia. And Pinterest, Wakelet, and Gemini made this really easy to accomplish. So I think this part of the class was very beneficial. Then we move on to the Canva part of the class. I enjoyed using Canva in class, and I think it'll be beneficial for me in the future for other classes. This is my concept map that I created using Canva. And I decided to do mine on Sydney, Australia. I enjoyed this part of the class, and I think it was beneficial to use Canva for my brochure and my concept map. Moving on to the brochure. This is my brochure that we made using Canva. It made it really easy and simple to make the brochure using Canva, so I think this is very beneficial. Let me go to the blogs section of the class. Show me the favorite blogs. This is one of my favorite blogs by Mark Manson, Spark Manson blog. Nothing really important here, so we'll move on. This is my blog that we made using this website. I enjoyed this part of class very much, and it was very beneficial, especially if you enjoy reading blogs like I do. And I decided to write about Bites of Baton Rouge, which is like foods that you might not know about if you're a tourist. So yeah, we also used Padlet to comment on other people's blogs and to view other blogs. I enjoyed this part of the class very much. It was fun to create a blog of my own. I'm a fan of blogs. So then moving on to the podcasting section of class, Miss Debbie's class. I enjoyed it. This is a site called Vocaroo that we did early in the semester, where a partner and I read a children's book that would be read to children, which I enjoyed very much. And then we included an Apple podcast in this website to compare our podcast to. The Joe Rogan podcast is my favorite podcast. It's my favorite episode with Jelly Roll. So, moving on to slideshow section of the class. So, using the AI inquiry part of the class, we used ChatGPT to come up with a whole bunch of prompts. So, if you were to click on that link, it would show you a ChatGPT prompt that was beneficial in class. And then we used Gamma to create a slideshow. I hadn't heard about Gamma before this class, but with the ease that it took to create this presentation, I think I will in the future, and I think it was very beneficial and a fun part of this class as well. So moving on to the movies part of class. Let's see what we got here. So we started with removing the background from an image, which would later prequel a green screen movie. So this is a picture of me at the beach, I suppose. And here's our Canva movie that we also made. I made mine on Ibiza. I enjoyed this part of the class as well, the Canva movie. I think using Canva is very easy and simple, and we learned that. Moving on to AI apps. Here's the AI app slideshow that I made, and I did mine on Perplexity. I enjoyed this part of class as well. It was very beneficial, and I like to learn about this new AI app. I actually ended up buying it after I was done presenting. So here's the final presentation portion. Uh, Final presentation includes our green screen movie, which I did how to make a paper airplane.